Death toll rises to 3 in Ekiti bank robbery as police close in on bandit. Federal Road Safety Corps says reckless drivers involved in road crashes during the Yuletide will be remanded in prison till mid-January. In international news, U.S. politicians accuse Trump of putting Saudi Arabia first over American values. And in sport, Nigeria Football Federation signs improved long-term contract to Nike.
This is ANN News.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. The number of policemen killed by armed robbers who invaded a bank in Ekiti in Ekiti State on Monday has risen to 3. State Police Command has expressed sadness over tragic loss of the 3 officers. The Police Command's Public Relations Officer, DSP Caleb Ikechukwu, says his men already had recovered a vehicle reportedly stolen by the bandits during the robbery. They allegedly killed the policemen both at the police station and within the premises of the bank. Ikechukwu says families of the deceased would be contacted before publicly revealing their identities. Ekiti State Governor has reinstated 5 permanent secretaries who were retired from the state civil service prior. His predecessor, Ayodele Fayose, they were reinstated after the National Human Rights Commission heard their petitions and declared that they were unfairly treated. A statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Yinka Oyebode, listed the permanent secretaries as Emmanuel Osho, Alfred Olaguntoye, Ayodeji Ajayi, Funke Falodun, Ayola Wolabi, and Babatunde Alokon. Oyebode said the reinstatement was effective from November 19, 2018. The National Human Rights Commission says it agreed with the reinstatement and said all their outstanding salaries and allowances for the period of their legal termination must be paid. Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria has threatened industrial action to ensure the federal government honor its obligations to the nation's senior citizens. Association President Boboy Kaigama warned during the group's National Executive Council meeting in Abuja that delay in payment of pensions and gratuities to the pensioners would no longer be acceptable. Kaigama said almost 14 years after the 2004 Pension Act went into effect, retirees still pass through many hurdles in getting their entitlements and regular monthly pensions. Kaigama says there were cases of officers who retired from the public service but have not been paid their initial lump sum, and their monthly pension stipends are also not paid 2 years after leaving service. Nigeria's Chief Justice Walter Onohe has sworn in the 3rd member of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Julie Anabo, to complete the tribunal's bench, which had carried on with only 2 members for years. A statement issued on Tuesday by the Senior Special Assistant to the Chief Justice on Media, Howard Sambasi, says Anabo was sworn in on Monday. Justice Onohe urged the new CCTV member to handle all cases without affection or ill will. Anabo holds a Master of Law in Maritime and Commercial Law and a postgraduate diploma in Maritime Law. Until her appointment to the CCT bench, she was a chief magistrate in the Lagos State Judiciary. This next story should encourage some sanity on Nigerian roads. The Federal Road Safety Corps has declared the reckless drivers who caused road crashes during the Yuletide will be held in prison till after the new year. FRSC's Zone 5 Commander Assistant Corps Marshal Kennedy Adelaye, who gave the warning in Benin, Edo State capital, added that crashed vehicles during the festive period would be impounded till January next year. Adelaye says the stern warning from the headquarters in Abuja says any driver arrested, whether keke or kada, car or bus or truck driver, in this Ember month period will not be released until after mid-January 2019. Adelaye said 45% of road accidents were caused by drunkenness, adding that drivers of articulated vehicles were responsible for road crashes in most cases. In a move to ensure more investors regularize their accounts by reducing the volume of unclaimed dividends in the Nigerian capital markets, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has announced an extension of forbearance in such accounts to December next year. This, among others, was part of the decision reached at the end of the 3rd Capital Market Committee meeting held on Thursday. SEC Acting Director General Mary Udok says the committee has decided to extend the forbearance window to the end of December to give investors more time to regularize their multiple accounts in order to derive the benefit from their investments. Meanwhile, the Lagos Commodities and Future Exchange has concluded arrangements to launch its operations as soon as it receives regulatory approval from the Security and Exchange Commission. Its acting managing director, Akin Akeredoluale, says there would be immediate activation of trading, including trading through remote access. He said there would be a well-structured and transparent approach to price discovery of various commodities and refinancing mechanism that would create better returns on investments. Coming up, African stories. Gunmen kidnapped 23-year-old Italian NGO worker in Kenya. Police treat incident as a terror attack. And later, U.S. politicians accuse Trump of putting Saudi Arabia first over American values.
You are watching ANN.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
We are on the road every day, canvassing throughout Africa for news you really need. We follow this story everywhere, from every corner of Nigeria to the wide African expanse. We bring you what's making headlines. We connect you with news you can use. ANN, African News Network, in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. Now to African stories. Kenyan police chief said on Wednesday gunmen had kidnapped an Italian woman voluntarily for a non-government organization NGO along the coastal region of Kilifi during an attack. 5 persons, including 3 children, were wounded. The youngest suffered a bullet in the eye. Police Chief Joseph Boyne said the attackers, armed with rifles, shot indiscriminately before taking the 23-year-old aid worker from a trading center in the area. He says the motive for the attack and the identity of the attackers have not been established. Meanwhile, a witness said the gunman appeared to be of Somali origin, as he reportedly spoke Somalian language and wore Somalian clothes. This is the first time in several years a foreigner has been adopted in the East African country. Police say they were treating the incident as a terror attack. Amnesty International said on Tuesday Egypt has committed shocking violations against children, including torture and enforced disappearances. It said it has documented at least 6 children, including a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old who were tortured in custody, and 12 who were subjected to enforced disappearances since 3 years ago. Amnesty says the 6 were severely beaten and given electric shocks in their body. It said in a joint report with the Egyptian Front for Human Rights, some of the torture was aimed at forcing the children to confess to crimes they had not committed. Right groups have consistently said torture is widespread in Egyptian detention facilities. The government has denied the allegations. The group's North Africa Campaigns Director, Najib Bonian, says this findings reveal an absolutely shameful disregard for children's rights. Bonian urged Egypt to release all children that are arbitrarily detained and quash any sentences issued to children in adult court or after unfair trials. Libya's Coast Guard says authorities have forcibly removed more than 90 migrants who have refused to disembark from a Panamanian-flagged cargo ship that had rescued them before docking in Misrata port, east of the capital Tripoli. The migrants had been rescued by the cargo ship 10 days ago as the boat sank in the Mediterranean. 14 of them were said to have left willingly when the ship arrived at shore, but 92 others refused to leave. Central Region Coast Guard Commander Taufik Ekiti said a joint force raided the cargo ship and used rubber bullets and tear gas to force them off the ship. He says the operation was ordered by Libya's Attorney General. Ekiti said those injured in the operation have been treated and were now in good condition. They have been taken to the detention center in Misrata. Libya is a major transit center for smugglers attempting to take undocumented migrants to Europe. The United Nations has praised Chad and Uganda for setting an example by educating refugees in national schools to help them integrate. It calls for more countries to emulate Uganda's gesture. UNESCO said Uganda, which hosts the largest number of refugees in Africa, brought humanitarian and development agencies together this year to create mixed schools for refugees and host communities. Chad has also developed a temporary education plan for refugees while it adapts the national system to include them. Manos Antonini's director of UNESCO's annual Global Education Monitoring Report says experience suggests that inclusion processes have been very positive. Zimbabwean Health Minister Obadiah Moyo has warned pharmacies and wholesalers who are reportedly demanding US dollar payments for drugs to stop the practice and begin accepting the country's bond notes from patients. The Health Ministry intervention came amid reports that local pharmacies were strictly selling medicines in US dollars as the bond notes value continued to decline. A report said over the weekend the lives were at risk as drug prices continued to soar. The Southern African country is currently experiencing an economic crisis. Prices have shot up after the country ran out of essential medical drugs and other basic commodities because importers were unable to secure foreign currency to replenish their stock. Breakdancers from East African countries showed up their skills at the 2018 Breakfast Jam finals held over the weekend in Uganda capital city of Kampala. Defending champion Uganda faced off with teams from Rwanda, Kenya and Tanzania. Contestants presented various moves from windmill, freestyle and two-step to six-steps and kick-ins. For them, it was not just about entertainment. The crew from Tanzania locked strong in the group stages, but when it came to the grand finale, Uganda were declared the winners. They will compete against all the breakdancers in Taiwan before the end of the year.
It's the first time Uganda is representing to the world level, world finals, and I feel special. And I don't know to tell you that I'm the one representing the all of Africa to go to Taipei. I'm so thankful for that.
When we return, international stories, U.S. politicians accuse Trump of putting Saudi Arabia first. And later, sports, NFF signs new contracts with Nike.
You are watching ANN.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Adam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby.
We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward.
Wait, stop.
You okay, lean to your right. Keep walking down. Keep walking to the left. Yes.
You're almost here.
Keep going.
You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. In international news, two of the Kremlin's most prominent critics joined forces on Tuesday to try to stop a Russian becoming the next president of International Police Organization Interpol, saying they feared Moscow could abuse the post to hunt down its detractors. Interpol's General Assembly is due to elect a new president today, Wednesday, after incumbent Meng Hongwei of China went missing in September. Beijing later said he had detained him in connection with a bribery probe. The battle to succeed him turned political after Alexander Prokopchuk, a former major general in Russia's Ministry of the Interior, emerged as one of the favorites to get the job, a prospect that alarmed critics of President Vladimir Putin. On Monday, 4 U.S. senators jointly urged President Donald Trump to oppose his candidacy. They accused Russia of abusing Interpol to settle scores and harass dissidents by issuing warrants known as red notices for their arrests. Many around the world are now saying that U.S. President Donald Trump may not have any sense of morality after all. That is after Trump said on Tuesday the United Nations intends to remain a steadfast partner of Saudi Arabia, even though Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman may have known about the plan to kill journalist Jamal Khashoggi. A statement issued by the White House indicates the president has no intention of cancelling military contracts with Riyadh. The president said in the statement, quote, "If we foolishly cancel this contract, Russia and China would be the enormous beneficiaries," end quote. Trump said U.S. intelligence agencies were still studying the evidence of how Khashoggi was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in early October and who planned it, but sources say the CIA assessment was conclusive. In the statement, Trump for the first time acknowledged the Crown Prince may have known about the plan to kill Khashoggi. That notwithstanding, he still wants to continue doing business as usual with the kingdom. Some of his Republican senators have spoken out against him. Some of them maintain Congress will take action against Saudi Arabia. Chinese Vice Premier Han Zheng and former Ecological Minister Francois de Rugy have met in Beijing and called on both sides to strengthen cooperation in several areas, especially in protecting the ecological environment. Han said China is ready to work with the French side to implement the consensus reached by the two heads of state and bring bilateral ties to a higher level, especially in areas of ecological environmental protection, response to climate change, and biodiversity conservation. De Rugy said France cherishes the cooperation achievement between the two countries and is willing to boost collaboration with China in fields including climate change and environment protection, as well as to push forward bilateral ties. Meanwhile, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte says he looks forward to further expanding cooperation with China within the framework of the China proposed initiative on the construction of the Silk Road economic belt. Duterte made the statement in an interview with leading Chinese media, including China Global Television Network, CGTN, in Manila on Tuesday. Duterte noted that his country and China are neighbors and that they share much in common. He also expressed his expectation to advance synergy between Philippines' Build program and the Belt and Road Initiative.
Some of the things that China has given us are in pure liberality, meaning to say it's given gratis for nothing. But there are big projects which China has shown interest to participate and to build. Along the way, as we improve our economy and you know, the infrastructure allow people to move easily, mobility is increased. There's an economic activity also moves.
Up next, sport. NFF signs new contract with Nike. Stay with us.
You are watching ANN.
If you know fit go internet or follow for Twitter, you know fit snap photo send or get it photo send. Now because you dey use Palasa, your phone no dey answer. See me see wahala. My brother, go get smartphone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no go for your hand, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no fit take selfie. Drop that Palasa phone. No be correct phone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone.
to a smartphone today and get double data for 6 months on any MTN data bundle you buy. Simply purchase a smartphone from any store, anywhere in Nigeria, or bring your current smartphone from any network. Insert your MTN SIM card to start enjoying your double data bonus. Offer is open to all new and existing MTN subscribers. Join the largest smartphone movement today.
Make it up for your
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Shining our eyes on breaking news, whether in the east or in the west, with Al-Shabaab in Somalia and Boko Haram in Nigeria, with turbulence in the north and agitation in the south. Wherever you live in Nigeria, wherever news happens in Africa, we've got it covered. ANN News, connecting Africans in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News and Sport. The Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, has signed a new deal with sportswear giant Nike. The improved agreement was signed on Tuesday at a ceremony attended by officials from both organizations in Asaba, Delta State capital. The 4-year deal has a renewal clause that will extend the partnership to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Sheo Diko, chairman of NFF Marketing, Sponsorship and TV Right Committee, said all the national teams are captured in the new deal. Tina Salviden, Nike Sportsman Marketing Director in charge of African football, said Nigeria has remained a source of reference in Nike meetings and events and is one of the big teams in world football. Niger winger Ahmed Musa says he has forgiven Gambia referee Bakri Gazama after his errors cost the Super Eagles 2 goals and a win in last Saturday's 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying clash against South Africa's Bafana Bafana. Gazama and his assistant chalked off 2 Niger goals on which offsides were called. Replays showed otherwise. After the clash in Johannesburg, Super Eagles keeper took to the social media to question the calls, also poking at calf. The referee has apologized to Musa and Nigeria for the mistakes, and the forward has waved off the incident, stressing that their qualification for AFCON has made up for the unpopular decisions. Forgiveness is divine. And that is the ANN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on this and other stories, visit our website, cnnafrica.net. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at CNN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a pleasant evening.